Have you ever felt like the more you want something, the harder it is to get? You wait for the text. You obsess over a reply. You try to fit in. You want someone to choose you. But the more you chase, the more invisible you feel. It's not just you. Everyone's been there. But most people spend a lifetime pretending they haven't. It's the law of energy in action. Einstein and Jung both tried to warn us, but most people are too busy chasing to notice what's actually running their lives. Think back. The last time you lost your keys, you searched everywhere, desperate, turning the place upside down. But only when you gave up did you spot them, right in front of you. Or the job you wanted, the person you liked, the message you were waiting for. You pushed, you tried, you leaned in, and it slipped further away. That group at the table, or those friends walking ahead on the sidewalk, no matter what you did, you found yourself trailing behind, hoping for a way back in. Let's drop the "maybe it's just bad luck" excuse. Your energy field broadcasts a signal: need, lack, chasing, and the world picks it up before you say a word. It's not fate, it's physics. Your field repels when you chase, but it attracts when you stop. If you don't believe it, ask yourself, how many times did letting go bring the very thing you wanted? You stopped caring about the text, and suddenly they reply. You stopped looking for a date, and someone finds you. You walked away from chasing money, and new opportunities came to you. These are clear examples of the law of detachment. But here's what no one says out loud. Most people keep running the same tired pattern: chase, crave, hope, and wonder why nothing sticks. They click away, numb out, blame timing, or just pretend they never cared. If you're about to do the same, pause. Because that urge to move on is your chasing energy fighting to stay in control, guaranteeing another round of disappointment. Here's what's actually happening. Your energy field is a magnet, and it can only draw in what matches its frequency. When you're stuck on "I need, I lack, I'm not enough," the universe only echoes that back. This isn't about being perfect, rich, or effortlessly confident. It's about breaking the cycle you've been stuck in for years. When you stop chasing, the field flips. People call you back. Money shows up. The group draws you in. Opportunities, love, respect, even luck. They chase you because you finally stopped pushing them away. So if you're tempted to click away, ask yourself, do you really want to keep running the same script? Or are you finally ready to see what happens when you stop chasing and let everything start moving toward you? Because if you keep watching, you'll get what most people never do. You'll learn to tune your energy field, flip the script, and finally become the thing reality can't ignore. And if you leave now, you know exactly what you're choosing. But since you're still here, and not everyone will be, I'll give you a real advantage most people never get. Here's the first piece you need to know. Your energy field is not some mystical aura or woo-woo concept. It's an electromagnetic broadcast, measurable, scientific. Before you open your mouth, before you even walk in the room, that field is announcing who you are and what you expect from the world. The weird part? Most people's fields are set to lack. They're not sending out confidence or abundance. They're screaming, "I need, I hope, I'm not enough." And it's not conscious. It's programmed deep in the body. Your posture, your breathing, even the tension you carry in your face. If you want proof, try this right now. Next time you want something, a response, a sale, a connection, stop and check your body. Are you leaning in, holding your breath, feeling that little ache in your chest, waiting for something to fill it? That's your field right there, bleeding out need. That's the exact signal that quietly pushes people and opportunities away. This is just the start. There's a specific shift, one adjustment in your field, that turns you from repellent to magnetic. And once you feel it, you'll know why nothing else has ever worked. I'll break down exactly how to flip that switch in a second. But first, I want you to see how many times this has already sabotaged your life, so you never ignore it again. And if you're really paying attention, you'll notice it's not just with people. The same field sabotage is happening with money, with opportunities, even with random luck. Ever notice how, when you need cash the most, every bill seems to hit at once, or how job offers pile up right after you finally stop caring, not when you're desperately searching. That's not coincidence. It's field mechanics, your internal signal pulling or pushing the world. Here's a detail most miss. It's not just your mind, but your body that broadcasts. Micro-expressions. A flicker of doubt in your eyes. The tension in your handshake. And you can't consciously control it. The field is older and faster than your positive thinking. This isn't philosophy. Stanford did a study. Strangers can detect hidden neediness in less than a second, just from body language, before a single word is spoken. You've done it yourself, without even knowing. Here's a weird little test. Next time you walk into a room, don't say a word. Just notice, do people subtly turn away, or do they lean in? That's not charm. That's your field doing all the talking. And here's the kicker. Most people never notice this feedback loop, so they blame bad luck, the economy, or just not being their type. But every pattern is a signal. If you don't like what's showing up, check what you're broadcasting. Why am I giving you these details now? Because the more you spot, the faster you'll be able to change it. When I show you how. In the next segment, I'll break down the most common field leak that ruins attraction, money, and luck, and how you can feel it shifting in real time. But first, I want you to keep tracking. What's your field actually saying right now as you watch this? Stay with me. You're closer than you think to flipping everything. Field flip number 1. Break the leaning in reflex. Right now, whenever you want something badly, approval, a reply, a deal, your whole system leans forward. Not just physically, but energetically. You reach, you tighten, you broadcast that ache into the room. That's what everyone feels. Here's the shift. Instead of reaching, pull back. Not as a performance, but as a reset. Try this in real time. Next time you feel yourself chasing, even a tiny bit, do nothing. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, exhale, and let your spine relax back. Literally lean away from the need. In your mind, replace, "I hope they choose me," with, "Let's see if this even deserves me." The goal isn't to become cold or detached. It's to neutralize the broadcast of lack, so your field goes silent, clear, unneedy. Here's why this works. When you stop broadcasting hunger, the entire dynamic flips. You create a vacuum, and suddenly they feel the urge to fill the silence. This isn't playing hard to get. This is changing the frequency beneath your words. If you really want to see it in action, run this experiment for the next 24 hours. Every time you catch yourself reaching, craving, or waiting, pull your energy back. Get curious instead of needy. Watch what happens. People will text you out of nowhere. Opportunities will shift. Conversations will start to turn. And the best part? The more you practice, the easier it gets, until it becomes your new default field. This is just one adjustment. There's a deeper layer, one that shifts not just moments, but your whole life pattern. But start with this. Try it. Prove it to yourself right now. And when you see the first weird result, remember, this is just the surface. The next step is where everything accelerates. Right now, in this exact moment, you're chasing something, or someone. Maybe it's that person who seems just interested enough to keep you hoping but never quite commits. Maybe it's the validation you seek through endless scrolling, waiting for likes that never feel like enough. Perhaps it's the career breakthrough that dangles just out of reach, no matter how hard you hustle. And if you ever felt that tightness in your chest, that subtle anxiety that says, "What if I'm not enough?" Or "What if they don't choose me?" That exact feeling has an energetic frequency, and it's the cause you repel everything you desire. See, here's what nobody tells you about chasing. Every time you pursue from a place of lack, you're not actually moving toward what you want. You're broadcasting a signal that screams, "I don't have." And the universe is an echo chamber. So it sends back exactly what your energy field is transmitting. Think about the last time you were desperately attracted to someone. Remember that energy. How you'd check your phone obsessively, analyze their every word, wonder why they took 3 hours to reply when they used to respond in minutes. You tried to play it cool, didn't you? Sent casual texts while your heart raced. Smiled in person while your energy screamed, "Please choose me." And what happened? They pulled away, got distant, maybe disappeared entirely. Not because you weren't worthy, but because desperation has a smell. It's like energetic body odor that no amount of fake confidence can mask. People don't just hear your words or see your actions. They feel your frequency. And the frequency of chasing? It suffocates. It grasps. It takes rather than gives. Scientists discovered something mind-blowing. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends up to 8 feet from your body. 8 feet. That means before you even open your mouth, before you send that text, before you make that move, your energy has already announced who you are and what you're seeking. That is terrifying because it means no matter how hard you try to fake confidence or hide your desperation, the world has already judged you before you even say a word. And if what you're seeking comes from emptiness, you become a walking black hole. What you seek is seeking you, Rumi whispered centuries ago. But here's the part he didn't mention. Only when you stop seeking does the sort arrive. Because chasing isn't just exhausting, it's expensive. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the currency of your soul. Every moment you spend in pursuit mode, you're spending life force, leaking energy, becoming smaller, dimmer, more desperate. You know that friend who always initiates every plan? Who texts first, calls first, suggests every meetup? Watch what happens when they stop. Suddenly, silence. The friendship evaporates, because it was never friendship. It was one person chasing and another person tolerating. The same principle applies everywhere. Career, romance, family, social media, even your spiritual practice. Yes, you can chase enlightenment too, and it will run from you just as fast. But what if I told you there's another way? A complete reversal of everything you've been taught about getting what you want. What if the secret isn't in becoming better at chasing, but in becoming absolutely magnetic in your stillness? What if the very act of not pursuing is what makes everything pursue you? This isn't about playing games. This isn't about manipulation or pretending you don't care. This is about something far more profound. Something that will fundamentally alter the way reality responds to your presence. Because when you shift from chasing to choosing yourself first, choosing presence over pursuit, choosing wholeness over hoping, something miraculous happens. The void you've been trying to fill from the outside begins to fill from within. And a filled cup doesn't beg for water. It overflows. The question is, are you brave enough to stop running? Can you sit still long enough for the butterfly to find you? Or will you spend another year, another decade, another lifetime exhausting yourself in pursuit of what was always meant to land gently on your shoulder? The answer changes everything. And it begins with understanding the invisible frequency you're broadcasting right now, the vibration of lack. Everything in existence vibrates. Your thoughts, your emotions, your very cells. And right now, as you read these words, you're broadcasting a frequency into the quantum field. But here's what will shake you to your core. The frequency of wanting is the exact opposite of the frequency of having. Let me prove it to you. Scientists at the HeartMath Institute hooked people up to sophisticated equipment that measures the electromagnetic field generated by the heart. What they found defies everything we thought we knew about human connection. Your heart doesn't just pump blood. It pumps energy, information, intention. And that field extends 8 feet in every direction. 8 feet. That means when you walk into a room desperate for approval, everyone feels it before you speak. When you text someone from a place of neediness, they receive that frequency along with your words. When you show up to a job interview radiating, "I need this," the interviewer's nervous system registers threat, not opportunity. It's like being a radio station. You can play beautiful music, but if you're broadcasting on the frequency of static, all anyone hears is noise. And desperation? That's pure static. Etymology of want. The English language holds secrets, ancient wisdoms hidden in plain sight. Take the word want. We use it casually. I want love. I want success. I want them to choose me. But do you know what want originally meant in Old Norse? Lack. Every time you say I want, you're literally affirming I lack. You're casting a spell of absence, programming your reality with emptiness. The universe doesn't hear your desire. It hears your declaration of not having. Now consider desperate. Break it down, desperare, Latin for without hope. When you chase desperately, you're moving from a place of hopelessness. And hopelessness isn't magnetic. It's repulsive. It creates an energetic stench that makes people step back, opportunities dissolve, and possibilities close. But there's another word, attract, from the Latin attrahere, to draw toward. Notice the direction? Attraction doesn't chase outward. It pulls inward. It magnetizes. It doesn't run after. It draws in. This isn't just wordplay. This is the architecture of reality, the mirror principle. 2,000 years ago, Hermes Trismegistus carved 7 principles into emerald. The first, as above, so below. As within, so without. Modern quantum physics calls it the observer effect. Jung called it synchronicity. But the truth remains unchanged. Your external reality is a perfect mirror of your internal state. Imagine standing in a hall of mirrors, screaming at your reflection to smile. You can scream forever. The reflection won't change until you do. Here's a story that will haunt you. Sarah spent 3 years chasing Marcus. She was beautiful, successful, kind. On paper, perfect. She sent thoughtful texts, planned incredible dates, gave him space when he pulled away, did everything the dating coaches advised. But energetically, she was on her knees. Every interaction dripped with the unspoken question, am I enough yet? Will you choose me now? Marcus felt it. Not consciously, he couldn't explain why someone so perfect felt so suffocating. He just knew that being around Sarah made him feel trapped, responsible for her happiness, like he was her oxygen. So he ran, deeper into his own avoidance. And Sarah, she chased harder, tried to be even more perfect. The mirror reflecting back her own desperate frequency, creating more distance with every step forward. Until one day, exhausted, she stopped. Not strategically, not to manipulate. She simply had nothing left. She deleted his number, focused on her art, started therapy, began filling the void within instead of seeking someone else to fill it. 6 months later, Marcus called, then texted, then showed up at her studio. Suddenly, he was pursuing. But here's the plot twist. Sarah no longer wanted him. Because when you stop chasing external validation, you realize it was never about them. It was about the hollow echo inside you, calling for your own attention. When you want nothing, you have everything. Lao Tzu knew this truth, but knowing isn't enough. You have to embody it. You have to vibrate it. You have to become the frequency of fullness. Because here's the sick joke. The moment you stop needing something outside yourself to complete you, the entire universe reorganizes to bring you everything. Not because you've earned it through suffering, but because you finally matched the frequency of having instead of lacking. The question is, what frequency are you broadcasting right now? Can you feel it in your body? That subtle reaching, that energetic leaning forward, that hope mixed with fear. That's the static, and it's drowning out your natural magnetism. But what if the static isn't just coming from your conscious thoughts? What if there's something deeper, darker, more ancient running the show? Something Jung discovered in the depths of the human psyche that explains why you keep attracting the same painful patterns. The shadow defined. Carl Jung saw something in his patients that shook him to his core. Beneath their polished personas, their careful words, their conscious desires, something else was running the show. He called it the shadow. Not because it was evil, but because it lived in the darkness of the unconscious, pulling strings from behind the curtain of awareness. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's every part of yourself you've disowned to survive. The anger you buried to be good, the neediness you hid to appear strong, the fear of abandonment you masked with false independence. These exiled parts don't disappear. They sink into the unconscious and operate your life like a ghost in the machine. And here's what will disturb you. Your shadow is louder than your conscious mind. It broadcasts at a frequency you can't hear, but everyone else feels. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who says all the right things, but something feels off? Their words say, "I'm confident," but their energy screams insecurity. That's the shadow frequency breaking through the performance, and we all do it. Every single day. The abandonment you fear, you're creating it. The rejection you're trying to avoid, you're manifesting it. Not through your thoughts, through your unconscious energy signature. Projection mechanics. And Jung discovered something that explains every painful pattern in your life. We don't see reality. We see our projections upon reality. The unconscious mind takes our disowned material and throws it onto the external world like a movie projector. That person who keeps rejecting you, they're playing the role of your rejecting inner parent. The partner who's always distant, they're acting out your own fear of intimacy. The boss who never sees your worth, they're mirroring your own self-abandonment. Your unconscious seeks to complete unfinished business. It draws in people and situations that match your inner wounds, hoping this time will be different. This time, you'll get the love that heals. This time, you'll prove you're enough. But here's the cosmic trap. Until you reclaim your projections, you're not having relationships with people. You're having relationships with your own shadow, dressed up in different bodies. Watch how this works. You meet someone. They seem different, special. But within weeks, the familiar pattern emerges. They start acting like your ex, or your withholding parent, or your critical inner voice. And you think, why does this keep happening to me? It keeps happening because you're the common denominator. Not your conscious you, your unconscious you. The one still trying to resolve a wound by finding someone outside to heal what can only be healed inside. The shadow doesn't just affect who you attract. It affects who's attracted to you. Like calls to like in the quantum field. Wound calls to wound. A person terrified of abandonment will magnetize someone terrified of engulfment. A person who can't receive love will attract someone who can't give it. It's perfect, really. Perfectly painful. But understanding this mechanism is liberation. Because once you see that you're not actually chasing that person, that job, that validation, you're chasing your own disowned self, everything changes. The projection collapses. The pattern breaks. The shadow material surfaces not as your enemy, but as your lost power returning home. Until you make the unconscious conscious, Jung warned, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But what happens when you stop calling it fate? When you stop being victim to your patterns? When you finally see that the very thing you're chasing in others is the thing you've abandoned in yourself? That's when the real alchemy begins. That's when you discover the difference between attracting from wholeness versus attracting from wounds. That's when you learn the cosmic law that changes everything. You are not what you want. Here's the truth that will shatter your manifestation board. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And if what you are is a walking wound disguised as a wish, you'll magnetize more wounding, wrapped in pretty paper. The universe isn't a catalog where you place orders. It's a mirror that reflects your frequency. Want wealth while vibrating poverty? You'll attract more lack. Desire love while radiating abandonment? You'll find people who specialize in leaving. This isn't punishment, but law. Think of the last time you laughed so hard that other people started laughing too, even if they didn't hear the joke. Or walked into a room where someone was genuinely excited, and suddenly you felt lighter without knowing why. That's how energy works. Your vibe sets the tone. When you're steady and clear, the world naturally syncs up with you, without you forcing anything. But here's where it gets twisted. Most people are vibrating their wounds, not their wishes. They're broadcasting their deepest fears while speaking their highest hopes. And reality, it responds to the broadcast, not the words. You say you want a conscious relationship, but your nervous system is wired for chaos. So you attract chaos dressed up as consciousness. You claim you want success, but your cells remember scarcity. So you manifest almost success that confirms your limiting beliefs. The wanting itself becomes the problem, because wanting affirms not having. And not having is a frequency that attracts more not having. Natalia's story, the illusion of letting go. Natalia thought she had it figured out. After years of therapy, she could articulate her patterns perfectly. I used to chase emotionally unavailable men because of my father wound, she'd say with clinical precision. But I've done the work. I've let go. She met James at a friend's dinner party. He was different, present, attentive, available. For 3 months, everything felt healthy, stable, real. Natalia told her therapist she'd finally broken the pattern. Then James needed space to focus on a work project. Just 2 weeks, reasonable, healthy even. But watch what happened in Natalia's body. Her chest tightened. Her thoughts raced. She started checking his Instagram stories obsessively, reading meaning into the timing of his texts. The old anxiety flooded back like it had never left. Because it hadn't. She'd learned to speak healing, but she hadn't learned to embody it. Her nervous system was still wired for abandonment. Her cells still expected rejection. And that subtle anxiety, that almost imperceptible frequency of "please don't leave," started pulsing through every interaction. James felt it. The space he needed expanded. The 2 weeks became a month, then indefinite. Not because he was emotionally unavailable, but because Natalia's unhealed frequency created the very abandonment she feared. This is what Jung called the repetition compulsion, the unconscious need to recreate familiar wounds. We don't do it because we're broken. We do it because the psyche seeks resolution. It keeps serving up the same meal until we finally digest it. Ego versus soul frequency. This is where most people self-sabotage. They're desperate to attract, but still stuck in ego frequency. And ego frequency is always, always lack. It's the part of you whispering, "I need them to pick me, to prove I matter." Soul frequency doesn't care who picks it. It already knows it's enough. Ego grabs, clings, and plays nice to be chosen. Soul sits back and radiates. The world feels the difference instantly. One drains, one magnetizes. Let's not kid ourselves. Your ego will disguise neediness as love, as just being supportive, as doing the right thing. But underneath it's screaming, "Fill me, see me, choose me." Every time you chase, your energy field leaks fear. Every performance, every little self-sacrifice for validation, broadcasts a single message. I'm not whole. I need you to complete me. And what happens? You attract the same emptiness you're leaking. Situations that demand you shrink, tolerate, or beg. People who need you to be less so they can feel like more. The law of detachment. But when you finally tune to soul frequency, when you let go of chasing, let go of the outcome, let go of needing any specific result, your whole field changes. This is the law of detachment. The less you need, the more you attract. Detachment isn't not caring. It's being so rooted in your own energy that nothing outside you can knock you off center. Here's the law nobody wants to face. The universe responds to detachment with magnetism. The moment you let go, really let go, the things you used to chase flip and start chasing you. This isn't playing games. This isn't pretending to not care. This is breaking the addiction to outcome. You root in your own frequency. You overflow. Suddenly the universe sends you matches, not mirrors. Blessings, not lessons. Detachment flips your field from repellent to irresistible. You attract people who aren't threatened by your fullness. You call in situations that don't require you to beg. You pull in reality that fits your energy, because you've stopped chasing and started choosing. So if you want to break the old cycle, you have to let go, not as a trick, but as a way of being. Stop leaking need. Cut the cords to outcome. Stand so solid in your own field that you become gravity. That's the only real law of attraction, and it's the only field worth tuning. Ready to actually detach, or are you still addicted to chasing? Because the field doesn't care about your words, only your frequency. And once you get this, everything flips. For good. Defining true presence. Presence isn't what you think it is. It's not sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed, floating above worldly concerns. It's not spiritual bypassing dressed up as enlightenment. Real presence is the most grounded, embodied, magnetically powerful state a human can occupy. When you're truly present, three things align. Your mind, your body, and your emotions all arrive in the same moment. No part of you is reaching backward into memory or forward into fantasy. No energy leaks into what was or what might be. Everything you are converges into this single point of now. And in that convergence, something alchemical happens. You become a sun. Not the desperate, seeking, grasping energy of lack, but the steady, radiant, self-generating power of a star. You stop pulling at reality and start illuminating it. You stop needing to be fed and start being the source. This is what every spiritual tradition points to but rarely explains. Presence is power. Not power over, power from. The power that comes from being so fully here that you need nothing from there. Most people live everywhere except where they are. Their body sits in the room while their mind races through tomorrow's meeting. Their mouth says, "I love you," while their heart guards against last year's hurt. They're fragmented, scattered, bleeding energy in 1,000 directions. But when you gather all those fragments back into now, you become unstoppable. Not because you're doing more, because you're being more. Being all of yourself all at once, all here, the magnetic field of stillness. Here's what quantum physics knows and most self-help never tells you. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's loaded, alive, ready to snap reality in a new direction. The quantum field, the real ocean of energy all around you, doesn't reward noise or effort. It rewards coherence. And stillness is coherence. Think of a lake after a storm. When the water's wild, everything is distorted. No reflection, no clarity, just chaos. But when that lake goes glass smooth, the entire sky gets mirrored back, perfectly. You become that lake. The more you churn, the more you chase, the less you see, and the less you attract. But the moment you're still, everything is drawn in. The whole world comes into focus around you. It's like a crowded subway. Everyone jostling, anxious, trying to get somewhere first. But the one person standing calm, steady, unbothered by the noise. People naturally give them space. Their calm shifts the atmosphere without a word. Or think about that friend at the party who isn't on, who doesn't fight for attention, who seems quietly comfortable in their own skin. They don't chase conversation. But watch. People drift to them. The loudest in the room end up wanting to stand near their calm. Stillness is the cat crouched before it leaps, every muscle ready, total silence, total power. It's the pause before thunder. It's that moment in an argument when you simply hold your ground, say nothing, and suddenly the energy shifts. The other person drops their guard, feels your presence, and their anxiety dissolves. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's research on morphic fields says it all. Your state isn't just personal, it radiates. When you anchor deep stillness, you broadcast a field of peace. Others feel it, slow down, even unconsciously start syncing with you. Their nerves calm, their masks slip. Your presence does the work for you. You don't have to force this. This is not passive. This is the most active force in the universe. It's Wu Wei, action without stress, creation without effort. It's the CEO who doesn't fill the room with talk, but whose silence makes everyone lean in. It's the poker player who sits absolutely still and makes everyone at the table nervous. Stillness isn't about sitting in a cave. It's about being so steady, so tuned, that everything and everyone starts organizing themselves around you. Stillness is gravity. Chaos orbits it. So next time you want to shift a room, influence a meeting, or flip a situation, don't react. Anchor in. Do less. Be still. And watch as everyone else can't help but tune to your frequency. Surrender as power. This is where most people flinch and fail. They think surrender is quitting, folding, sitting on the sidelines of life. That's not surrender. That's avoidance. Real surrender? It's a kind of power most people are too scared to touch. It's standing solid in who you are while letting go of what happens next. It's walking into the negotiation, the date, the argument, and knowing, I want this, but I don't need it to be okay. I'm whole, even if nothing changes. Think of the difference between grabbing a handful of sand and letting it rest in your open palm. Clench your fist, the sand leaks out, gone. Open your hand, suddenly nothing slips away. That's surrender. Or picture a climber halfway up a cliff. Panic tightens every muscle, burns energy, and drains strength. But the climber who pauses, breathes, and trusts their grip, that's the one who moves up, steady, focused, powerful. This is the razor's edge where transformation lives. You stop bracing for disappointment, stop begging reality to prove your worth, stop negotiating with life. You surrender, not to defeat, but to truth, not to passivity, but to your own frequency. Even Marcus Aurelius kept it simple. The present is the only place where you have power. Worry about the past, fantasize about the future, and you give all your power away. But in the now, unattached, unworried, unbothered, you become magnetic. When you finally surrender outcomes, something brutal but miraculous happens. Resistance dissolves. You stop leaking energy. Life stops testing you and starts moving with you. It's like arguing with water. Push, thrash, demand. It flows around you, unmoved. But the moment you surrender, let yourself float. Water lifts you up. You move farther by yielding than you ever did by fighting. Here's the field hack most will never dare. Stand in front of a mirror and say, even if no one chooses me, I choose myself. Even if nothing works out, I am still whole. Feel the terror, the "but I want more" in your gut. That's ego, still clinging to control. Let it burn, then breathe. Surrender to the discomfort. Watch as the world you were chasing starts chasing you. Because this is what the mind can't accept, but the soul already knows. The second you stop clinging, the field flips. Outcomes surrender to you. The less you need, the more you attract. The less you grasp, the more life delivers. The alchemists called it, as within, so without. Change your inner state, surrender the outcome, and the outer reality has no choice but to reassemble around you. But here's why 99% never get this. It's not just about letting go for 5 minutes. It's staying unshaken even when your old patterns scream for control. It's being the calm at the center of every storm, the open hand that loses nothing, the one everyone wants to follow. Not because you chased, but because you surrendered. The art of sacred indifference. Most people think detachment means shutting down, acting like you don't care, numbing out, hiding behind spiritual aloofness. That's not real detachment. That's just another mask for fear. Sacred indifference is a superpower. It's caring so deeply about your own frequency, your own wholeness, that you refuse to abandon yourself for anyone's approval. It's wanting someone or something, but never at the cost of betraying your energy field. Imagine you're at a party. Everyone is desperately angling for attention, talking louder, trying to prove they belong. But there's always one person, the calm in the storm, who seems to need nothing. They laugh, they listen, they're present. People orbit around them. Even the so-called cool ones want in on their field. Why? Because sacred indifference is magnetic. It's the anti-chase frequency. Desperation repels, but sovereignty attracts. It's like watching a movie in a crowded theater. You get pulled into the action. You feel every emotion. But part of you always knows, this isn't the real me. I'm the watcher, not the drama. That's the field you want to live in. Feel everything. Fuse with nothing. Jung called this individuation. It's the moment you stop handing your self-worth to the crowd, the relationship, or the outcome. He said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. When you stop chasing approval, you stop leaking power. Suddenly, your presence has gravity. Because you're not hustling to belong, you already belong to yourself. Think of it as social hacking. When you don't chase validation, you throw a glitch into the social game. People can't put you in a box, can't manipulate you, can't make you dance for crumbs. They feel your energy field is self-contained, not needy. That's when you become unshakable. And strangely, that's when everyone starts to chase you. This isn't about being cold. It's feeling everything: love, desire, disappointment, but never letting it rewrite your code. You can love someone fully, and if they leave, your field doesn't collapse. You can want the job, and if you don't get it, you don't lose your power. This is the real art. Loving with your whole heart, wanting with your whole being. But being more committed to your own wholeness than any outcome. Because when you hit this frequency, you break every old codependent loop. People stop treating you like a backup plan. Opportunities stop dodging you. You go from orbiting their world to making your own field, the one everything starts to revolve around. Recognizing activated complexes. Jung warned us, everyone knows nowadays that people have complexes. What is not so well known is that complexes have us. A complex is like a hidden program running in your unconscious. When triggered, it hijacks your entire system. Your heart races, your thoughts spiral, your carefully cultivated presence collapses into old patterns. And the scariest part? While it's happening, it feels completely justified. Here's how to catch yourself. First, the body tells truth before the mind admits it. Notice, chest tightening, jaw clenching, shoulders rising. That's your early warning system. Your body is screaming complex activated before your mind starts its story. Second, watch for the rationalization machine. When activated, your mind becomes a master lawyer, building airtight cases for why you must text them, check their social media, seek reassurance, or react. The more logical it sounds, the more suspicious you should be. Third, feel for the age regression. Complexes pull you back to the age when the original wound occurred. Suddenly, you're not a conscious adult. You're a terrified child in an adult body, using adult words to mask childhood panic. Here's what happened to Michael. Successful entrepreneur, meditation practice, years of therapy. But when his girlfriend didn't respond to his text for 4 hours, he became someone else. The complex activated. He sent 17 messages, each one more desperate than the last. Later, he couldn't believe what he'd done. It was like I was possessed, he said. He was. By his own unconscious material. The 4-hour silence had triggered his mother wound, the times she'd disappeared into depression, leaving him wondering if he'd done something wrong. His adult mind knew his girlfriend was just busy, but his activated complex was reliving abandonment. This is what Jung meant when he said complexes have us. They possess us. Use our mouths, move our fingers across keyboards, make choices that our conscious self would never make. But here's the liberation. The moment you can say, I'm activated, you've already begun to deactivate. Consciousness is the antidote. Awareness breaks the spell. Integration creates radiation. Now we reach the final alchemy. You don't attract what you want. You don't even attract what you are. You attract what you've integrated. Integration means taking every shadow piece, every rejected part, every shame pocket, every wound story, and bringing it home to consciousness. Not fixing it, not healing it, just acknowledging it, owning it, including it in your wholeness. When you integrate your neediness, you stop attracting people who trigger it. When you integrate your abandonment fear, you stop creating abandonment. When you integrate your unworthiness, you stop seeking worth through others' choices. This isn't spiritual bypassing. This is spiritual physics. Watch what happens. A woman integrates her desperate need for male validation. Suddenly, men who would have played with that need aren't interested. But men who can meet her in her wholeness start appearing. Not because she's healed, because she's integrated. She's no longer broadcasting a frequency that attracts wound matching. I am whole and complete exactly as I am. Say it. Feel where it's a lie. That's where integration is needed. Not perfection, inclusion, not fixing, acknowledging. Because here's the cosmic truth. You radiate what you've integrated. If you've only integrated your good parts, you radiate partiality. But when you've integrated your shadows, your neediness, your rage, your desperation, your fear, you radiate wholeness. And wholeness is the most magnetic frequency in existence. It says, I've seen all of myself and I'm still here. I've felt everything and I'm still standing. I know my shadows and I choose my light. That's not a frequency that needs to chase. That's a frequency that commands attention simply by being. The question is, what are you still refusing to integrate? What shadow material are you projecting onto others instead of reclaiming as your own? Because until you call it home, you'll keep attracting people who reflect it back in painful ways. But something even more profound happens when you stop chasing completely. When every cell in your body finally gets the message that you are enough. The paradox deepens. But wait, I can feel your resistance from here. Your mind is doing what minds do, finding loopholes. Okay, you're thinking, but what if I do all this inner work and still end up alone? What if I integrate my shadows and nothing changes? What if becoming whole means becoming isolated? Good. Feel that fear. That's your ego's last stand. Because here's what I haven't told you yet. The moment before everything changes looks exactly like nothing changing. The dark night of the soul isn't when things are bad. It's when you've done everything right, and reality hasn't caught up yet. This is where most people break. They do the work for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. They stop chasing. They practice presence. They integrate shadows. And then, silence. No ex comes running back. No soulmate appears. No opportunity knocks. So they panic. Return to old patterns. Start chasing again. And convince themselves the whole thing was spiritual nonsense. They quit 3 feet from gold, the dating app phenomenon. Let me tell you about an experiment that will rewire your understanding of energy dynamics. There's a phenomenon happening on dating apps that scientists can't explain, but mystics understand perfectly. Person after person reports the same bizarre pattern. They swipe obsessively for months, send hundreds of messages, chase matches. Nothing substantial manifests. Frustrated and exhausted, they delete the apps entirely. They surrender. Focus on their life. Then something strange happens. Within days, sometimes hours, of deletion, old matches resurface. Texts arrive from people who ghosted months ago. DMS flood in from connections they'd forgotten. It's as if the universe was waiting for them to stop grasping before delivering what they'd been chasing. But it's not the universe playing games. It's energy physics. When you delete the apps, you're not just removing software. You're severing energetic cords. You're withdrawing your frequency from the chase. You're collecting all the energy you've been bleeding into the void and returning it to yourself. And that withdrawal creates a vacuum. Not an empty vacuum, a magnetic one. The same way pulling back a bowstring creates the potential for forward motion. How many times have you heard someone saying, the second they deleted their Tinder, they met their wife or husband. So keep in mind how your energy field even affects this part of your life. But here's where it gets brutally honest. Are you willing to be alone forever, if that's what alignment requires? Can you look in the mirror and say with full conviction, I choose my truth over any relationship. I choose my frequency over any false connection. I choose myself, even if it means solitude. Because until you can, you're still chasing. Maybe not with your actions, but with your energy. Joseph Campbell wrote about the hero's journey, that moment when the hero must enter the darkest cave, face the greatest fear, alone. No mentor, no companion, no guarantee of survival. Your cave is the possibility of eternal aloneness. Not loneliness, aloneness. The full acceptance that you might walk this earth without a romantic partner, without the validation you've been seeking, without the external confirmation of your worth. Can you enter that cave willingly? Can you sit in that possibility without running? Because here's the thing. Only those willing to be alone forever are given true companionship. Only those who don't need to be chosen get chosen. Only those who've made peace with solitude magnetize soul connections. It's not a test, but a check. The universe isn't cruel, it's precise. It responds to who you are, not who you're pretending to be. And if who you are is someone who'd rather betray themselves than be alone, you'll attract relationships that require self-betrayal. So here's the question that changes everything. The question that separates those who transform from those who just rearrange their patterns. What are you more committed to? Getting what you want, or becoming who you really are? Because they might not be the same thing. The ego wants guarantees. The soul wants truth. The ego wants comfort. The soul wants growth. The ego wants someone to complete it. The soul knows it's already whole. Most people say they want truth, but choose comfort. They say they want growth, but choose familiar pain. They say they want authentic love, but choose anxious attachment because at least it's intense. The moment of real transformation comes when you finally mean it. When you'd rather be alone in your truth than together in a lie. When you'd rather have nothing than something that costs you everything. That's not giving up. That's growing up. That's the moment you stop being a child begging for love and become an adult capable of it. Because here's what nobody tells you about this journey. The goal isn't to get chosen. The goal is to become so aligned with your truth that only truth can approach you. The goal isn't to attract love. The goal is to become it. And when you finally become it, when every cell in your body vibrates with the frequency of wholeness, something impossible happens, the great reversal. And then it happens. The moment you truly let go, not as strategy, but as surrender, the entire universe reorganizes itself around your new frequency. It's not gradual, it's sudden, like a switch flipping in the quantum field. The phone starts ringing with opportunities you didn't seek. People you haven't heard from in years reach out, just thinking about you. Strangers approach you in coffee shops, drawn by something they can't name. Your presence becomes a silent invitation that speaks louder than any pursuit ever could. But here's what's really happening. You're not suddenly more attractive. You've stopped being repulsive. You've stopped broadcasting the frequency of lack that pushes everything away. You've become a clear channel instead of static interference. Lisa discovered this after 18 months of celibacy, not forced, but chosen. She stopped dating entirely, deleted all apps, focused on her architecture practice, learned to tango alone, traveled solo through Peru, fell in love with her own company. Then, at a gas station of all places, a man approached her. "I don't usually do this," he said, "but there's something about your energy. You seem so complete." They've been married 4 years now. But here's the key. She would have been fine without him. That's precisely why he appeared. The reversal isn't just romantic. Watch what happens professionally. You stop desperately networking and suddenly get headhunted. You stop begging for clients and they seek you out. You stop chasing recognition and it finds you. Because desperation is repellent, but wholeness is magnetic. Need pushes away, but fullness attracts. The chase creates distance, but presence creates gravity. The three-step protocol. Here's your practical pathway to embodying this frequency shift. Not theory, not philosophy. Daily practice that rewires your energetic broadcast. Morning sovereignty ritual. 5 minutes. Before you touch your phone, before the world tells you who to be, stand in front of your mirror. Place your hand on your heart. Look into your own eyes and declare, I choose myself today. I am whole and complete. I need nothing external to validate my worth. I am the source. Feel the resistance. Good. Breathe through it. Say it until your nervous system believes it. This isn't positive thinking. It's frequency training. Midday presence check, 2 minutes. Set an alarm for noon. When it goes off, stop everything. Ask yourself, am I chasing or choosing right now? Am I leaking energy or containing it? Am I here or somewhere else? No judgment, just notice. Then take 3 breaths and consciously call all your energy back to center. Imagine golden threads extending from you to everyone you've been thinking about. Cut them. Return to yourself. Evening energy audit, 10 minutes. Before bed, scan your day. Where did you abandon yourself? Where did you chase? Where did you leak power? Write it down. Not to shame yourself, to see clearly. Then write 3 moments where you chose yourself, where you held your center, where you didn't chase. Anchor these. Your nervous system needs to register the wins. This is how you train a new frequency. Not through massive transformation, but through micro choices. Each time you choose presence over pursuit, you strengthen your magnetic field. Here's the final truth that changes everything. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose. To choose yourself so completely that the universe has no option, but to mirror that choice back to you. This isn't narcissism, it's navigation. You're setting your inner GPS to home instead of constantly rerouting toward others. You're becoming your own North Star instead of orbiting someone else's light. I choose myself becomes your mantra. Not, I hope they choose me. Not, I wonder if I'm enough. But a declarative, non-negotiable claiming of your own worth. When someone doesn't text back, I choose myself. When the opportunity doesn't manifest, I choose myself. When loneliness whispers its seductions, I choose myself. Because every time you choose yourself, you emit the frequency of the chosen. You broadcast worthiness. You radiate the very thing you've been seeking in others' eyes. Remember the butterfly from our opening? The one that landed only when the student stopped chasing? That butterfly was never outside you. It was always within, waiting for you to be still enough to feel its wings. You are both the student and the butterfly, the seeker and the sought, the chaser and the chased. And the moment you realize this, truly embody it, the game ends, the search completes, the circle closes. Your presence becomes your power. Your being becomes your blessing. Your wholeness becomes your offering to a world desperate for examples of what it looks like to be complete. The chase is over. Not because you caught anything, because you realized you were never missing anything to begin with. If you're ready to stop chasing and start choosing, drop the words, I choose myself, in the comments below. Let it be your public declaration, your line in the sand, your frequency statement to the universe. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to join this journey of sovereign becoming. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone still exhausting themselves in pursuit of what's already within. Subscribe to the free newsletter. And remember, the moment you stop chasing, everything starts chasing you. Not as reward, as reflection, as the universe's way of saying, finally, you've come home to yourself. Now we begin.